If you're in a seller's market where property values keep going up and everybody's trying to buy a property, then you're not going to have as much negotiating room as you would as if you were in a buyer's market when everybody's trying to sell their home and home prices are going down. During these markets, you can be super aggressive with your offers and still probably buy the home just because that's the market that you're in. Things that I do to find the best deals is, one, when I look at properties, I'm not looking at the super nice homes. I'm looking at kind of those medium range homes, not the super bad homes and not the super great ones, right in the middle range, because I found those to give me the best returns. And second, when I try to find properties, I like to find properties that are beat up, either beat up physically or beat up financially. In the real estate world, they're called distressed properties. I like to call them value add opportunities. Essentially, I like to find a property, if it's physically beat up, that is cosmetically challenged. So it might have really bad floors, the paint might be ugly, the kitchen might be outdated, the landscaping might be horrible. When a regular person walks through this home, they're gonna be like, oh my God, this looks ugly and it smells, I don't wanna look at this, and so they're gonna walk out. For me, that's a great opportunity because now I'm not really competing against anybody to buy this home, so I can buy this property way below market value and I can renovate the property and make it look brand new and then own this property at a huge discount below fair market value. If you're looking at commercial properties or multifamily apartment complexes, you can also find a financially distressed property, which means you might have a 20-unit apartment complex and this apartment owner, this real estate investor, doesn't know how to manage the property, and this 20-unit apartment complex has nobody paying their rent and it has a lot of vacancies, and so this is financially distressed because this apartment owner, this real estate investor, is losing a lot of money, and so they just want to get the property off of their books, so they're willing to sell it at whatever price because they just want to get rid of it. If you are an experienced investor and you have the right team, then you can come in and buy this property and turn it around and make a much bigger profit because now you're buying this property for way below market value. The key for any of this to work is you got to put your emotions on the side and you got to focus on the numbers. So many people get caught up on the emotions because they want to invest in a cute home. But when you invest in a cute home, you're going to have cute profits. If you really want to make the money, you got to invest on the numbers, right? So if you're looking at a property and it's ugly, it might not look nice, but you can turn this property around and make a lot of money on it if you look at the numbers. When I was first looking at properties back during the 2008 crash, I took my mom with me a few times, and these properties were ugly. I mean, they were beaten up, they had mold and mildew inside, but they were selling for dirt cheap. And I remember my mom telling me, oh my God, I don't want to be in here because these homes are so nasty. I mean, there was holes in the walls, there were sometimes animals living inside. So a lot of these homes are super beaten up because this was in Michigan, which was really hit hard by the 2008 crash. And a lot of these homes were selling for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. And now today, these homes are worth almost $100,000, rented out for $1,000 a month. But I didn't buy some of these just because I got emotional and I didn't realize that I could have turned these kind of like crap properties into gold mines if I just understood to let my emotions be on the side and understand the numbers. This is where you got to understand that real estate investing is not for everyone. I mean, you got to get down and dirty and you got to work with a bunch of people. You got to find the real estate attorneys, the real estate agents, the real estate contractors, and the property managers. And so you got to find these people, work with them, and really understand how the process works. If you're not interested in that, then it's going to be hard to really be a successful real estate investor. I mean, yeah, you could just throw in money and find somebody to go find you the deals and do all that, but you're going to get a lower return because you're not willing to go out and actually find the deals and maybe renovate them. You don't have to do single family homes. You can do much larger apartment complexes and you can do more commercial properties, but if you're not willing to go out there and put in the work, you're going to have to pay the price for that in lower returns. Now, there are alternatives with things like real estate crowdfunding, where now you can just invest your money and get exposure to a real estate fund. That way you don't have to deal with tenants or property managers or any of that. So if you want to learn more about that, our team put together an article that breaks down how you can invest in real estate without actually buying physical real estate. If you want to read the article, it's on our website, theminoritymindset.com, and I'll link it for you in the description below. But when it comes time to negotiating the contract, one thing that no matter what you are doing when it comes to price, one thing that you have to incorporate is a property inspection contingency, which says that you have the ability after you enter into a contract to go through the property with your own private inspector or your city inspector, and then you can decide if you want to continue buying this property or not. It is so important, and let's talk about it in number 4. Not doing your proper due diligence and getting the right property inspections is one of the easiest ways to make a deal go bust. I'm telling you this from experience. There was one deal that I did. It wasn't even a big deal. It was a small home that I bought because a contractor that I was working with told me that this would be a great investment. I purchased the property based off of his word without doing any of my own private property inspections, and that single deal came around to bite me in the butt, and it was one of the biggest headaches I had ever had to deal with in real estate. I made a video where I talked about this in my worst real estate deal ever. If you want to watch the video on YouTube, I'll link it for you in the description below. But essentially, if you have a property inspection, you can take a private contractor, a private inspector, and this person's job is literally to just walk through the entire property and make sure your property is not on the verge of falling apart. So they're going to walk through and see the foundation of the property. They're going to see how the roof is. They're going to see the mechanical, the electrical, your plumbing. So they're going to go through the entire property and make sure the systems in the property are working, because the last thing you want to do is buy a property and then find out you need $100,000 worth of renovations when you only budgeted $6,000 worth. Getting a private property inspection is going to cost you a few $100s. And this is money you have to pay before you actually buy the home, because as soon as you enter the contract, you want to have the contingency period, this due diligence period, where you can inspect the property with your inspector. And so you're going to pay this inspector a few $100s, and they're going to go through the property and they're going to give you a report which tells you everything that's wrong with the property physically. And once you get that report, you can decide if you want to continue buying this property, or if there's a lot of repairs and renovations that need to be done. You can tell the seller, hey, I need a discount on the price, because right now they're kind of like on the hook, because if you don't buy it, then the seller has to start the selling process all over again. And so you kind of have to make this decision as to if you want to negotiate how much, or do you want to just walk away from the deal, or do you want to accept the deal as is. In addition to getting your own private property inspection, you also want to consider having the city come out and have them do a city inspection, because most cities require you to register your property as a rental. So you're going to have to work with the city hall and tell them that you want to rent this property out, and they typically are going to come out and do their own inspection and make sure that this property is livable and there's not any major issues. If you do a private property inspection, you should find all the major issues, but the city might tell you something that you didn't expect, or they might make you do things that you didn't know you had to do. So you want to talk to the city early on, and you want to know exactly what your costs are going to be before you actually buy the property. That way you can do your financials and your numbers based on what your actual costs are going to be. So before I buy a rental property during this due diligence period, I do three things. First, I get my own private inspector to go out and walk through the property and tell me what's wrong with it. Then I like to have the city come out. That way the city can tell me what I need to do to get this property licensed for rental. And third, I'm going to have my contractor go through the property. That way I can show him a private property inspection, the city inspection report, and then whatever renovations I want to get done. That way I can see what my total costs will be to get the property renovated and ready to go before I actually buy the property, so I can look at the numbers. Now, one little caveat I want to give you is anytime you get renovations done, chances are it's going to cost you a little bit more than what you expected. So just kind of budget that in there and understand that, because almost always you're going to pay more than what you thought to do the renovation. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.